Hello, welcome to Days of Our Business Day 1 Masterclass. If you are here live, please say hello. Let me know where you're from. Share what brought you here, what you're hoping to get out of this two-part series, what intrigued you to join. Tell me all the things I want to know. But first and foremost, welcome. I'm giddy with excitement that you have chosen to spend your time with me, and I hope that you get everything out of it that you need. As we go along, if there's questions that you have or things you hope to cover, please pop them in the comments. I have reserved time tomorrow to cover anything that I may have missed or perhaps didn't even think to touch on. Okay? Anyways, welcome. So, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. And I wanted to start by discussing the giant badge of honor that we seem to carry around and share with the world like it actually depicts some sort of success. And that is the hustle and overwhelm and burnout of the shit we have to do every day in our life and in our business. It is not an honor to be exhausted. It is not productive to be overwhelmed. Okay? This is shit we're just force-fed online as, I don't even know why, but for some reason, if you don't fill every nook and cranny of your calendar with shit to do, then this is why you're not successful. You won't be successful. This is why you're not making sales. This is why you're not getting anything done. No. The topics and themes that we're covering over these next 2 days are directed at entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. But honestly, you can use these if you're in a corporate setting, if you're a stay-at-home parent. Implementing these strategies can actually help you in any area of your life. I know this because these strategies were born from every area of my life, that being parenting, corporate, solopreneur, just life. So if you have somebody or know somebody that could benefit from this information, please invite them in. I would love to have them join our conversation. If not, at the very least, share anything that really spoke to you with them in hopes to kind of lighten their load and ease their mind. Now, as I just mentioned, we have been conditioned to fill every single piece of our waking hour, and we're told that that's the only way we're going to be successful. You constantly have to be working on your business in order for your business to be working for you. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to work hard. I subscribe to the motto, work smart, not hard. None of that means it's easy. None of that means you just get to lean back and, manifesting goddesses will praise you with gold out of thin air. That's not what it means. Work smart, not hard just implies that there's simpler ways to get the same shit done in less time. Okay? You're still going to have to work hard. If anything, you're actually going to work harder because you're going to do focused work instead of busy work. Okay? Busy work just drains us, but doesn't actually propel us forward. It doesn't move us forward. It doesn't generate revenue 90% of the time. Planning, organizing, picking fonts, doing your makeup in case you decide to go live, in case you take a selfie. That's just busy work. And all it does is when you close your laptop at the end of the day, you're left with the overwhelming feeling of not having done fuck all with your time. I know this because I've done it. I've been there. I've wasted the day on Pinterest deciding what fonts go best with what colors. Literally busy work. My brain was exhausted. I got nothing accomplished. My business wasn't nowhere, not seen anywhere, nowhere further ahead than it was at the beginning of that day. It was just busy work because I was told that if I'm not doing at least something in my business, then my business won't grow. The something matters. The something really, really matters, okay? Having 500 things to do on our list, right? The ever growing to-do list. Without a plan in place, less than 1% of that shit will actually get done. It's a fact. And you know what you're left with? Not only a shitload of stuff to still do, but guilt for not having done it already. Pretty shitty feeling, huh? Again, speaking from experience, I've done it. I've been there. I've tried the whole work-life balance that everybody preaches about. And all I can tell you, there's no such thing as work-life balance anymore. Work-life balance was a thing when you worked 9 to 5 for someone else. And even that is no longer as feasible. But if you work 9 to 5, you do have a chance of work-life balance because you can clock out from one and clock into the other. That's kind of where the balance comes in. Nowadays, because not only are we working 9 to 5s, but we have side hustles and our families are busier than ever. We need work-life integration. Okay, one has to support the other and one has to go into the other. They have to work together. There's no more this versus this versus this. There has to be room for both at almost every point of your day, but at least at some point. So please forget the term work-life balance. Just get rid of it. It's work-life integration. And we're going to show you exactly how that works. It's part of tomorrow's strategy when I lay out the whole how-to of what we're talking about today. Now, about 7 years ago, it's been less than that, but 7 years ago is when I started to feel the overwhelm. I was working on my other business. I was working full-time. I had 2 small children. I was in the middle of building a house. I was also with a partner who worked out of town Monday to Friday. I was exhausted. And then I was made feel guilty for being exhausted and having nothing accomplished, which led to my to-do list to grow, me to isolate myself, and eventually I was just exhausted, depressed, and unmotivated. That lasted for a while. And it was my kids, like it usually is for us moms, that kind of snapped me out of it. You know, I was snappy with them. I had a short fuse. I was in a really dark place. And seeing that not spending as much time with them, and I wasn't doing anything. I was literally laying on the couch because I didn't know where to start. Like, that list was so freaking huge and so overwhelming that I even quit adding to it, because just the thought of opening it up and adding one more fucking thing to that list brought tears to my eyes. I just didn't know where to start. I didn't want to start, and then sitting down on the floor with my kids just made me frustrated because I'd already done nothing, so how could I be tired? And it was them and just their sad little faces that snapped me out of it. And when they say to make a change, all you need to do is decide, I agree with that. I cried myself to sleep. And the very next day, I decided that I was done. It was time to get my shit together. It was time to create memories that I'm proud of. It was time to enjoy the world from anywhere but that couch. So I started small. And the very first thing I started with was my health. So I increased my water intake. If If you're not drinking enough water, I am telling you now, your brain cannot function at optimal level. We are like 80-something% water. We need to replenish that water. I recommend at the very bare minimum, half your weight in ounces per day. So your pounds to ounces. So if you're 100 pounds, you're going to drink 50 ounces of water a day, minimum. Okay? So that was the first task. That was the one task in the morning that I habit stacked while I prepped lunches for my kids, which was a habit now, which I loved. I know people hate making lunches, but I do. It's my way of showing love. I make sure to drink my first half liter of water and take my vitamins. That's where it started. Then I realized that the next thing that created anxiety in me was the amount of decisions you have to make. Decision fatigue is a real thing. Okay? If you didn't believe me, look up Steve Jobs. The guy wore the same 7 outfits every week. Same outfit, actually, every single day. So he had 7 turtlenecks, 7 pairs of the exact same pants, 7 of the exact same cardigan, or whatever. I don't even remember. Decision fatigue is a real thing. And if you don't believe me, I want you to pay attention to how you feel when I say this next thing. What's for dinner? Did you feel your blood pressure jump about 10 points? Yeah. I remember that. I very much remember that. It is such a big stress of people's day. Because this isn't something you can push to the next day. It's not something that you can skip today because, well, we need to eat. Our kids need to eat. It is, especially for women, a huge contributor to your daily stress. And the worst part of it is that question gets thrown at us at the end of the day when we've already depleted the majority of our willpower energy and our brain power energy. So that was the next thing I had to tackle. What decisions can I make once that will live for a long time, if not forever? Very first thing I did was I followed Steve Jobs. Not him personally, but his way of getting dressed. I went, bought 7 pairs of the exact same leggings and the exact same t-shirt, though in different colors, and 7 different flannel shirts. And that's how I spent the next year. I'm telling you, it was such a relief in the morning. In addition to that, I meal planned. I invested in the greatest thing I've ever spent money on. It's called Plan to Eat. Okay, I can share a code with you guys. It's actually part of the resource guide that I'm going to post in the group. You plan your whole week of meals. I started to create a library of recipes right within the software, and it auto-populates my grocery list, which then I can basically just drop into online orders, or I print off and go pick it up myself. Eliminating those 2 things took so much pressure off of me. I could actually look at that list again. Okay? I could actually start to break that list into bite-sized pieces so I could start to tackle it again. I mean, it still required effort on my part. It was still a hard thing to do, but it was a lot simpler because I've already eliminated so many things off my to-do list. I already knew what we were eating for lunch and dinner. I already knew what I was wearing. I already knew what time the kids would be home. I already knew what activities were and where I had to be at what time. All that stuff went into my calendar. And then I just had to fill in some more blocks of time. So I started doing that with my business. Because hell, if it works so well in my life, it's got to make business easier, right? I started time blocking a couple of years ago, and I time block absolutely everything. Okay? If you look at my calendar, it is just this beautiful rainbow of colors. I actually love my Google Calendar. Time blocking is literally taking chunks of time that you think it will take you to complete any given task. Now here's a caveat. Have you ever heard of Parkinson's law? Parkinson's law states that any one specific task will take you as long as the time you've allotted. So if you haven't put boundaries around the time of doing a task, there's a really good chance it's going to take you all goddamn day, if not longer. Like, I can fold laundry in under 10 minutes, but sometimes I fold laundry for like an hour, literally. I've caught myself doing this on more than one occasion. This is why I love my Google Calendar, because it notifies me when the next block of time has started. So I know that that's got to be done. But if you want to go farther, you could do a stopwatch, right? So Mondays for me is Marketing Mondays, so content creation. The first half of the day, so from 9 to 11:30, I write copy. I write all the copy I will need for all my Instagram and Facebook posts that week. And then I break, and then I come back and I do all my editing and my graphics in the afternoon. It has been revolutionary to my business. It's actually the reason Social Solutions was born, because it was just so life-changing when I started implementing that in my other account, when I started implementing that into our other businesses that we have multiples of. I have created so much space that this past August I took the entire month off. Yeah, and it was amazing. It was so freeing. It actually took about a week to get into it because I was so used to my schedule at this point that my body was like, wait a second, why are you still in bed? It's like, oh yeah, because I can be. Because everything got done and everything else can be pushed forward. I'm telling you, it's been amazing. That brings us into theme days. So like I said, Marketing Monday, Personal Growth Sunday. That's where I do all my planning. It takes me about an hour and a half now. It used to take, when I first started, it took better part of 4 hours. I'm down to about an hour and a half because everything else is living forever, right? So Sundays, for example, I have my goddess bath and I do my journaling and pull cards. That's just a reoccurring event on my calendar. I don't need to schedule that again. I already know it's there. In the beginning of the year, I was doing Friday live chats. I didn't need to block that in. I already knew that was there. It was just a reoccurring event. That's why the Sunday strategy sessions become so quick. Because eventually you do it once and it lives forever. Okay? And then task batching. You might think this is multitasking. Similar, but more productive. Multitasking is doing like what? 3 to who knows things at once, right? You're folding laundry, texting your girlfriend, listening to a podcast while the TV's on. You're like, shit, I am getting so much done. Caught up with my friend, laundry's done, listen to that podcast that's been sitting in my, queue for a freaking month, and I'm caught up on, I don't know, whatever you're watching. Virgin River. Your brain collected your data. It's literally like if you were a cartoon, there'd be steam coming out your ears because it's so overwhelmed and there's so much information coming at it. Task batching is actually productive. You take like-minded tasks that you need to complete and do them at the same time. So for me, we'll stick with my example of content creation. I write copy and just copy for my Instagram, my Facebook page at the same time, all within that block of time. Okay. The reason this works, and same with graphics in the afternoon, I do all my graphics for all my marketing at the same time. I literally will have 3 to 4 tabs open because I'm doing them at the same time. This works because there's a really good chance all that shit has 90% things in common, right? So my graphics for this Facebook Masterclass, for Facebook, for Instagram, for YouTube, and for my stories, I did it all at the same time. Why? Because it was pretty much the same graphic. I just had to resize it and move a couple of things around and then schedule them or put them in different folders so that they're ready to use when I need them. So I did 4 things at once. And if I did them separately, I would have literally needed 4 times as much time, right? Because you're starting from scratch each time. But they're so similar, you can do them at the same time. Another example that's a little more everyday life would be batching tasks that you can do at the same time, but only one of which requires your brain energy, okay? So before we even get into that, your brain is like your cell phone. There's only so much power in that battery before it's like shuts down half the apps and it's in power saver mode, okay? Every decision you make, every task you complete depletes that battery. Just like a cell phone, even though you're not playing on it, but you turn it on just to see if you missed any notification, that draws the power out of that battery. Your brain is the exact same way, okay? And the less apps you have running in the background, the longer your battery lasts. This is why multitasking is basically like having 25 apps open in the background. Okay. When you want to batch tasks that aren't the same, but need to get done, make sure only one of them is using up brain energy. What that means is, if you purchased a program, so if you purchased this program, this program's free, but whatever. You signed up for this program and you want to listen to it. I kind of hope I can have your undivided attention for the half hour, 40 minutes that we're here. Okay? Maybe even break this up into 2 parts and listen to it. This is where I do all my personal development. While I drive, I've been driving long enough that there's very little that needs my undivided attention. Especially where I live, I'm basically, might as well be a train. Like I'm on a highway and it's just a straight shot. I can actually focus really well, and it's my favorite time to absorb the information in podcasts or courses that I've purchased. My other favorite time is when I fold laundry. I don't require my brain to show me how to fold my shirts or my pants or socks or what be. I don't need brain power for that. So I listen to my podcast while I fold laundry or while I'm cleaning the house. 2 things done. I'm doing personal development and fueling my brain, and I'm getting chores done around the house. That's proper task batching / multitasking. They have to be within relation to themselves, or if they're not, only one of them can require your attention and your brain power for it to be effective. So my challenge for you today, and really for the rest of the week, but my challenge for you today is to take a piece of paper and start writing down everything that you do. Now, you can either focus strictly on business, or you can have a running list of just life and business together, Or if you're not an entrepreneur and you're just looking for some extra functionality on your calendar, just start a list. What does each day consist of? Start it now. Keep that piece of paper handy as things come up during the week, because that's going to enable you to properly theme and batch your days in the long run. Okay? This isn't a one and done thing you do. This is going to expand. This is going to change. This is going to grow. You're going to learn how to pivot within it, but still be super productive and clear up space for joy. Okay? So, tomorrow, we are covering how those three things, time blocking, theme days, and task batching, actually improve your mental health, your business health, and how it helps you create bomb-ass content for your business, where to start and how to implement, and then what happens when you fall off the wagon. Because I'm telling you, you're going to fall off the wagon. I fall off the wagon. I fall off the wagon all the time. It's okay though, because as long as you have a plan on how to get back up, you got this. It's doable. And each fall has a lesson of where you need to make an adjustment. Okay? So, we'll discuss all that. In the meantime, thank you ever so much for hanging out with me. On top of that, if there's something that resonated with you or tugged at your heart, please do share it with me. If you prefer, you can DM me. We can have a chat there. Or share it with a friend that you think needs to hear it. All right? So, join me tomorrow. We're going to bring it all together. I've got some resources I'm going to share right here in the Facebook private group with you guys to help you. And in the meantime, enjoy your beautiful Monday, because Mondays are great, because we get to do whatever it is we plan to do and be good at it. Ciao.